Hi, it's Allie. We are interviewing Big B today, along with his musical partner, Johnny. We're talking about they have a new album out. They've been making music together for a really long time, and we're just going to kind of go down the rabbit hole. So if you want to tell me, like, how did you guys get linked up together? When did you start becoming friends or making music together?
It's with us. It's a weird thing. I was doing music. So was Johnny. But about 15 years ago or so, I teamed up with a guy named Jim Perkins to do one of my records. And him and Johnny were real close friends. And then they're just hanging out and stuff. Johnny ended up becoming the bass player because I was trying to figuring out how I can transition from just being kind of like your typical white rapper into making something more musical. I kind of want to leave it. I just want to leave a legacy of all types of music. That's what I've done in the Felons Club, so many different things. And Johnny kind of came on board back then, not knowing what he was getting into, and now we're 15 years later, and now he's talking me into making albums because I didn't want to do them anymore. So that's where we're kind of at with him. But I don't know, what's your take on it, Johnny?
Jim, who was writing music that you mentioned, we were in a band called Dumb Luck, which I think the Peter had some experience with. So. We've kind of always been around in the realm of kind of on the back end of writing music for a lot of people, and B's the one that prevailed. So after our stage days were done, and after I think pre-pandemic we were still playing music and getting gigs where we could, or wherever we decided to, and I think the pandemic kind of grew an idea that is now this album.
Can you say prevailed again, please, one more time?
Just prevailed.
Yeah. Let them know that I kept on doing it. No, we just been friends for a long time, and we stuck around, and it just kind of came to this. Unfortunately, I don't do much with Jim anymore. And then Jared was working with Jim too, and Jared's out. He's out right now with doing stuff with the Aquabats, right? He'd be in here, and we kind of just started touring. And these guys were the guys that stuck around, even the high and the low points of making music. So it's pretty awesome to have this record. And then when we did this record, I didn't want to do it as a Big B record. I wanted to do everyone come in and be part of it. So I kind of just split it up, and it's almost like this album's like a new business. We're all partners in it. Everyone's an equal share in it. Sure, my name's on the sign above the door, but it's a full partnership between all three of us to make this happen.
And did you guys all have a hand in all aspects of the album as well?
Yeah, we basically had it done. So I don't know if we want to rewind this a little bit, but we've been doing ideas and stuff and working forever. And then we went to Joshua Tree just to work on a couple of songs. I just wanted almost like a getaway. So I was like, hey, why don't I rent a place out there for a week? And let's just go out there and see what happens. And when we went into it, was just I wanted to come up with like 3 songs. And then, that we've always wrote together. I'd always send Johnny stuff, little hooks and different stuff. And how many did we end up out of there, Johnny, after we did that?
I think we were 8, 9 solid songs. I mean, I want to say that probably 80% of those are on the album now. So
yeah,
I mean, they definitely changed, but some of them more than others. But yeah.
And selfishly enough, I just wanted a little bit of a vacation with my friends, and some of my friends have to have a reason to go, with their wives and partners. Me, I'm lucky enough to be free, so I had to come up with a plan. So I said we're going to work, but really we're going to drink alcohol and eat good food, and then make music third. So and we accomplished all that.
Oh my God, that is so amazing. Okay, that's definitely going in a reel. Okay, and also that's why it's so good though, because it came organically, right? Do you think that's true?
Yeah. I don't even think we were talking about a release. I think it was more about just making music. I think you personally, B, didn't know what you were going to do with this because
I think it was cool to be able to.
We joked around that you were like, "Oh, I need some new music for my TikTok."
Yeah, and I didn't even have a TikTok at the time, later or anything like that. But I think the best part about this was we brought it to Regime, a finished product. Everything was done, completed. I didn't even have a record deal really or anything. I had Kevin Zinger, obviously he's a great friend of mine, and I've so many projects with. So I knew that he would put it out, but we didn't know where it was going, what was happening, even with the features and everything else on it. It all just fell into place. It was like one of those things where, and it felt good too, because I don't think these guys, like the people who were on the record, it wasn't because I'm the hot guy now. I'm not the guy that's popping, and we got to get on this record with this guy so we can try to get to the next level. It wasn't like that. Everything was organic, and it was friends helping friends. I don't know. It's just a weird thing that, that if this is the last album that we do, or I do, I'm super proud of the fact that it was so genuine, if that makes any sense.
No,
When it comes to
that
music.
does make sense. And I think you have a lot of friends. People respect you in music. It's not like you are a hype guy. It's like you've cultivated these, I've seen your follow list. You know what I mean?
But I left too. That was the other thing, is no one thought I would leave. I kind of left at the heyday of, like, I was at the top of my game when I left. We came off of having Sinner, which was a huge radio hit, and everyone couldn't believe that I was just going to bounce. But I'm not trying to be an ass when I say this, but I genuinely hate the music business. It's the worst thing in the entire world. But the problem is that my biggest love in the world is making music. So how do you balance that to where it makes sense? And it was weird to be able to leave and then come back and see I was still greeted with open arms.
So how do you handle that? How do you handle your disdain for the music industry but still putting out creative projects that you're proud of?
Just by doing that, putting out creative products and saying no, and basically saying fuck off too to the industry, to where they're like, and guys like Kevin and Ivory, Regime and other places, they kind of at some point don't know. I know Kevin respects me as a friend, but I'm a bad investment at this point when it comes to music. Let's be honest. I don't tour. I don't do anything. All I can do is try to give people great songs. So. And then you got to see too, you're kind of like testing a label or Kevin or anything. Yeah. Like, are you guys in it for really the music, or are you in it for the profit? And of course they have to pay the bills and keep the light on. But I think I have a lot of respect for anyone that gives us the freedom to do that and try to do it. Don't get me wrong. We can do shows and all those things, but I just don't, it's not, before I had to figure out how to feed myself. And that's what you had to do. You're like, okay, we have to put more music out. We have to go on the tour. We have to go on this. Now I got a bigger truck. I got a nicer house, the bills, everything. So all of a sudden now, are you really, and again, I'm not knocking anyone, are you being creative? Are you being productive? And once you're productive, are you making great music? Are you making music that your fans will listen to? So you're going to make the same album, doing the same thing, the same style of everything. We've seen it before with punk rock, so many different things. People do that because they know it's going to keep the lights on. Yeah. So that's what's so great about where I'm at now, is if no one listens to it, I still know 60 years, 70 years from now, my great grandkids or whatever else will be like, oh, that's what our grandpa used to do, covered in tattoos. Scumbag made music. Well, with this Filipino best buddy.
It sounds like you have, the way that you strike balance with that is by setting boundaries. You have very clear boundaries with what you will and will not do.
Yeah. And I didn't have them for a long time. But I got into a place where, and again, I'm not knocking anything about the music industry. I'm saying for me, it is a love-hate relationship. Well, some people love it.
Yeah. You're making music now as a passion instead of making music to survive, which those are two, survival mode and thrive mode are completely different MOs, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's where we're at. Plus we're, older guys now. We're adults doing this, not kids. And my problem with this music, or even the any style of music, it's just silly to me when an older guy tries to keep up with the younger kids and adapt and act that way, and then all of a sudden you're looking at him and saying, man, you're looking like a clown right now. Just make great music and do what you do. Don't try to chase the trends or whatever it is. And that's what's so great about stuff like the resurgence of Sublime and these different things. This has been going on forever and ever, like for such a long time, that style of music. And you can it can be itself. It doesn't have to be this new thing. And now people are adapting. They're coming this way instead of us chasing that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
you dropped some pretty crazy bombs on me just now.
Why is that?
I just, you're not, I mean, that was just very honest. Like, usually artists don't come with honesty like that. That was very amazing.
Oh, thank you. But
Yeah.
what's that?
We have no problem. We've discussed it on our own. We have no problem once this album's out. We'll walk away from it. That's not a threat or anything, but we will. We'll go, oh, that was a great
We
time.
did that. That's good.
Did that.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
It feels good to do that. And I
Yeah.
think it's
And
not a
so,
swan song by any means.
and
but,
so
you know,
Johnny, going into this, was that your kind of goal as well? Like, you're like, hey, I just really believe in this music. I really want to see this get made, and I don't care. I don't care. Or like, did you go into that with that mindset? Did you go into this with that mindset, just wanting to make the music to make the music?
oh, yeah, absolutely. I think the business side grew over time, probably in the second half of it. That was when that's when the music and the words were all cultivated, and we were like, oh, we're okay or proud or supportive of putting this out on a business level. I think because
Yeah.
before it literally was going out to the desert. And we were like, oh, let's literally go for a few songs, and it would just fill our soul. Like,
Yeah.
it would feel really good, and we all high five, you know, and that's. I think again, like it's mimicking bees, where it's like I don't want to go on tour. I don't need to fulfill that
Yeah.
that self fulfillment of being a rock star or being alone. So
Yeah, you guys
it was,
have done
and
that.
most importantly, it was to facilitate like the rebirth of the Big B thing, because it had been a while. You know, I was a part of the last album, which was a decade ago, and maybe that it maybe in a weird way it did scratch that itch a little bit. You know,
Big Birth. It's the Big Birth.
That's, you just gave me the title for the article, The Rebirth of Big B. That's what I'm writing down right now. I think this is such a cool story. This is so interesting to me. And I just, switching gears a little bit, like lyrically, do your lyrics reflect when it was made and for the purpose that it was made, which is friends having fun, friends doing what they want to do, like, or is it reflective of what you guys have been what's been going on in your life and that time that you were away from music? Like, where do they land?
A little bit of everything, but for me, it's whatever's going on at that time. I mean, if you listen to this album and you listen to it, it's all over the place. It doesn't make sense at all or whatever else. But so I can't really say I did it for any reason or anything. It's just music that I wanted to put out and put out. I always tell people, if you had to eat the same thing every day for the rest of your life, you'd go crazy. Music's kind of the same way. The same thing. Fusion restaurants, why they're so popular, is because people want a mix of everything. And some artists are scared to jump out of that. I can't say I do them all good, you know what I mean? But I'll try to do whatever I want to do. I can't. There's people that can do a lot of stuff better than me, and Johnny, all of us with the music. But I just want to make a fun record. So I don't think it reflected where I'm at right now mentally or anything, because there's just fun songs where they're great. And I'll be riding my motorcycle or working, and I come up with a hook, and I sing it in my head and send it to him, and all of a sudden it moves forward. And we have a lot of them that don't make it. What's that?
I would say that the majority of the songs, particularly on this album, though, all the songs lyrically, they all came from like a bouncy hook that you sent in a voice memo. And there was I could tell that there was nothing past that. It was just jingle. It was quick jingles. And then I think when the stuff that is serious or a little bit more digs deep into things, those were still spontaneous. It was, you know, so I think a lot of the music was written on the spot.
And there is a couple songs on the record.
Lyrics, rather, yeah.
There is. Sorry to interrupt you. There is a couple songs on the record that reflect where I am now. Especially like "Time," the first song, and a few of those. "Fuck You's" one. No,
song.
But yeah, I don't think it would. Like I said, there's no rhyme or reason to the record. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
almost putting like a playlist on, and that's scary for some people, and it can be dangerous. But is it really dangerous if you don't have any? You don't only care where it goes from here.
Yeah, if you have no expectations, you have no disappointments.
So it's easier. It opens up it's an empty canvas to do whatever you want.
Well, we essentially just did a bunch of singles, and they just come out of an album.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, it's cool. So. You mentioned you had you had some friend features. Who can we expect to see on the album? Can you say?
Well, first off, the best part of the thing is I got to work with my daughter. She's a punk artist, goes by the name of Peach Hole. So she's on 2 songs on the album. So that was pretty good. My dad's actually on the album, Rambling. Killer Mike, G Love, Common King's on there. Who else? Johnny, all the from
Jesse
Afterlife.
Jesse. Jared and I's personal local hero in Riverside is Kip Wurtzfield from Debonaires and Skeletones. Finally getting actually a really great song with B and Jesse on there. So that's a really good one.
DJ Product is there's just tons of so many different people on there.
Justin Derrico, Pink's guitarist.
Amazing.
Potentially one of my favorite song, I think.
Which song is your favorite song?
Foot to the Floor.
Okay.
And I think that goes back to like what B's talking about is I think I saw some either like bucket or bravery from him, because I definitely presented and Jared presented some very eclectic styles, and I was expecting him to go no, and he went okay.
Not always. I'd be like no, fuck no. I'm like, I'm not doing it, and then a day would pass, and then I'm like, well, are you afraid? Why wouldn't you try to do it? They think that this is going to be this way. Can you not do it? And then we'd go. There's a couple songs that were hard where I wanted to give up, and then there's a few of them, like even Loser, we wrote like 6 times, but the hook was there and it was a great hook and everything. And we'd record it, and Johnny would hit me up and be like, dude, don't get upset. I know you can do better. Like, and I'd go back to the drawing board and go. And Johnny would come up to my house. He lives about three and a half hours away. I live in the middle of nowhere.
He's in Central. I'm in Orange County. So.
And he would come up and we'd do the same thing: eat, drink, and make music. And we started. This is the first time I just set up a studio, build a studio in my living room, portable studio, and we'd go and we'd record all night, wake up in the morning, make breakfast, listen to some stuff, and Johnny would be, and Jared too, they'd be like, no, that's not it. And then you're like, well, if we don't really care, why are we doing this so many times? But it's like, if the fact is we don't care what people think, and you're like, yeah, we care what we think.
Yeah.
Well, as a collective of what we think. So we just kept on working on it and chipping away. And Kevin never, I gave it to him afterwards, and I think he was kind of like, all right, I don't have to do that much work. We can put the record out.
Done.
and I didn't have to give you any money. This is great.
I mean, the dream. So how long would you say this album took from that weekend in Joshua Tree to now, to release?
Johnny?
Just shy of 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not bad.
But recording it took about 8 or 9, and then it kept on doing it, and we did different parts. But we had the layout of the song about 2 years till it's coming out, I think, more than anything.
Yeah.
Did we go up to Regime initially, like in, what was it, March or April of last year?
Yeah.
Something like that, and then we added a few.
And we let him hear the album. Then it was kind of done, and then Johnny's a perfectionist, though. Then we kept on working on it and working. And what do I tell you, Johnny? Put down the paintbrush. Put down the paintbrush.
It ain't ever gonna end. No. Who would have thought the big goofy kid from down